Have you ever looked at, a tiny piece of tech and just sort of dismissed it? Thought, okay, this little thing, it can't possibly handle the heavy lifting I need. Maybe you figured it's just for browsing the web, maybe playing some music, definitely not powering your whole creative workflow or running a server. Well, today on the deep dive, we're going to flip that idea completely on its head. Our deep dive today is all about busting those myths. We're uncovering the genuinely surprising capabilities of mini PCs, and we're drawing from years of real-world testing. Someone who's really pushed these small machines to their limits, finding out things they really wish they'd known much, much sooner. So yeah, this deep dive, it aims to save you some headaches, basically. Cut through the trial and error and get you straight to the smart choices.
That's exactly right. Our mission here really is to cut through those first impressions, those assumptions you might have when you see these, compact boxes. We want to show you what they can actually do. Focus on those aha moments, the things you'd wish you knew from day one to make better decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about getting you informed without that painful learning curve we sometimes go through.
Okay, let's unpack this then. When many of us hear mini PC, yeah, we picture something basic, good for web browsing, maybe playing some videos, but you're saying they're way more capable. What's the most demanding thing you've actually seen one of these little guys handle confidently? Are we talking simple coding, or could someone actually run, say, a full pro video editing suite without it choking?
It's honestly kind of staggering how much power they fit into such a small space. You really have to forget those old ideas about mini PCs being weak. Our experience shows they're not just capable. For many tasks that used to need a big desktop, they're actually overqualified. We're talking real heavy lifting here. Mini PCs with recent processors,
Yeah.
Things like an Intel N150, strong Ryzen 7, even Apple Silicon level chips, they can absolutely handle serious workloads. Heavy multitasking.
Wow.
We've seen them manage intensive video editing, yeah. Running Docker containers, which developers love for packaging software, easily. Managing entire smart home setups with Home Assistant, no problem. Or even acting as robust, always-on headless servers, no screen needed. For a lot of users, they really do work as surprisingly snappy desktop replacements.
Huh.
And these aren't just fringe cases. They easily support, 16 gigs of RAM or more, super fast SSDs, even driving multiple 4K displays at the same time. It really forces you to rethink things. Break that old assumption that real computing power has to mean noise and bulk and a lot of heat.
Okay, wow. I would not have guessed they could handle that much. So my old noisy tower, maybe it's kind of obsolete for a lot of people now, unless they're doing intense gaming, but that power, it makes you think they must suck down energy, right? So here's another assumption to tackle. What about their power consumption? Is it high?
That's the next big surprise. And honestly, it's a massive advantage. The power draw on these things is remarkably low. Most models, when they're just idling, sitting there, they're sipping between maybe 5 and 10 watts. That's it.
5 to 10, seriously.
Seriously. And even when you push them under full load, they rarely go above, say, 25 watts. Now, compare that to even a pretty modest traditional desktop PC. That might easily idle at 60 watts, maybe more.
Right, yeah. Big difference.
Huge difference. And over time, especially if you leave a machine running 24/7, that translates into really considerable cost savings on your electricity bill. This efficiency makes them perfect for stuff like home servers, media centers, or remote access machines. You could run a low-impact Plex server for your movies, or maybe a lightweight development box you access remotely using Tailscale, which is a great tool for secure remote connections, by the way. And you can do that without constantly worrying about the power bill ticking up. It's really a double win. You save money, and you significantly cut down on heat output and your overall environmental footprint.
Okay, power and efficiency. Check and check. But, usually when something's that small, that compact, you're locked in. You can't upgrade it later. That's another common idea, right?
Yeah.
So what about expandability? Are you stuck with what you buy, or can you actually tinker inside these mini PCs?
Yeah, that's a huge misconception, and thankfully, it's mostly wrong. It's a relief, really. The idea that mini PCs are these sealed boxes you can't touch, largely a myth. What our source found, kind of surprisingly, is how modular a lot of them actually are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most will have at least 1 or 2 slots you can upgrade, usually RAM and storage, the main things. Sometimes you'll even find extra M.2 slots for more fast storage, or maybe even SATA slots inside. More room than you'd expect for something so small. They personally, added faster NVMe drives, bumped up the RAM to 32 gigs, even put internal SATA SSDs into several different models. It proves they're more future-proof than you might think.
That's good to know.
And that's just internal. Externally, you've got tons of options too. Think USB-C docks for more ports, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet adapters for super fast networking,
Ah, okay.
Zigbee coordinators if you're into smart homes, and yeah, you can even connect external GPU enclosures if you need serious graphics power for gaming or rendering.
An eGPU on a mini PC. Interesting.
It is. The key advice, though, is you really need to check compatibility beforehand. Plan out your setup carefully. And maybe, budget for future upgrades instead of thinking you have to max everything out on day one.
Makes sense. So, beyond the raw specs, the speeds and feeds, there's another thing that makes a huge difference in your workspace. Or just your living room, really. Noise. My old desktop can sound like like a small vacuum cleaner sometimes. How do mini PCs stack up there? Are they whisper quiet, or do they still have that fan hum?
Oh, this is where they really shine for a lot of
Mm.
people. And it was a genuine eye-opener, a revelation for our expert, too. Mini PCs are pretty much perfect for silent setups. Many have these ultra-quiet cooling systems already. And then there are models, like the Mio Realist Quieter series, that are completely fanless, no moving parts at all.
Fanless. Wow.
Yeah, that means zero noise, no humming when it's working hard, and way less maintenance hassle because there's no fans sucking in dust all the time. Our expert even mentioned, they used to just kind of tolerate the background hum of their old PC. Figured that's just what computers sound like, right?
Uh-huh. I know that feeling.
But then they tried a fanless mini PC, and that's when it hit them. Even a supposedly quiet fan is this constant low-level distraction. It was like suddenly noticing the fridge buzzing something you'd tuned out for years. It actually made a surprising difference to their concentration and just general comfort.
I can imagine.
And yeah, fanless designs have other perks too. They collect less dust, obviously, and they can actually run cooler overall, as long as you give them decent airflow around the case.
Okay, it really sounds like mini PCs are just full of these pleasant surprises. Power, quietness. But with any tech, the devil's often in the details, especially connectivity, right? Are there any hidden gotchas, like ports that promise something but don't quite deliver, or features that aren't what they seem?
Oh, absolutely. And this is critical. A real wish I knew this sooner kind of thing for many people. Not all ports are created equal, not by a long shot. It's not enough for a mini PC to just have a port, say a USB-C port or an HDMI port. The specific type, the version, the bandwidth of that port matters just as much.
Okay, how so?
Well, you really need to understand the specs to avoid getting frustrated. Our expert shared this one story, a real headache early on. They bought a mini PC, excited because it had USB-C, planning to connect an external monitor. Spent hours troubleshooting why it wouldn't work,
Oh, no.
only to finally figure out that specific USB-C port didn't support video output or power delivery, even though it looked identical to ports that did.
Ah, that's frustrating.
Exactly. Or take HDMI ports. Some might be limited to only 30 frames per second, 30 hertz, at 4K resolution. And trust me, 30 hertz can make your mouse movement feel sluggish.
Yeah.
Videos look choppy. It's not a great experience.
Oh.
They also ran into a machine that claimed it had fast 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. But because of an internal bottleneck, basically, a traffic jam inside the machine's data pathways, the actual speed was throttled way down. It made the feature almost useless.
So you pay for a feature you don't really get?
Pretty much. So the best advice, honestly, carefully check the chipset specs, look up the specific port standards, HDMI 2.0 versus 2.1, USB 3.2, Gen 2, that sort of thing, and read user reviews before you buy. It really comes down to reading the fine print to make sure the ports will actually do what you need them to do.
Those are really crucial points. Good warnings. Okay, finally, let's talk about mobility. Usually when we think travel or remote work, we think laptops, right? Can these mini PCs really compete in that space, or are they still basically desktop machines, just smaller?
They absolutely can compete, and for some people, they've actually become a total game changer for portability. First off, their size is just remarkable. Some models aren't much bigger than, say, an Xbox controller. You can literally fit one in a coat pocket or a small pouch in your carry-on.
That small.
Yeah. So imagine pairing one of those with a little foldable keyboard and a portable monitor. Suddenly you've got this excellent travel workstation setup. But what's really surprising is the consistency you get. You have your entire desktop environment exactly as you left it, not just some cloud-synced approximation, and without the typical weight or battery life concerns of a laptop.
Interesting point.
Plus, with good cloud backups and remote tools like Tailscale we mentioned earlier, you can spin up your exact coding environment, your writing setup, whatever it is, from pretty much anywhere with a screen and keyboard. It means your work setup stays consistent no matter where you are physically. That's something even good laptops can struggle to match perfectly.
Yeah, that consistency is key.
Definitely. Our expert talked about using a mini PC as like a traveling server sometimes, or a streaming box in a hotel room, and then a full-on productivity machine the next day. All the same little box. For many people who built a setup like this, it's genuinely hard to go back to a regular laptop afterwards. Mini PCs offer this unique mix of consistency, flexibility, and surprisingly, power.
So there you have it. What maybe started out as these niche little boxes, mostly for maybe home theater setups, they've really evolved into these surprisingly versatile, seriously powerful machines. They can chew through demanding work, run super quietly as home servers, and even become your main travel computer. And as we've kind of unpacked today, understanding these things up front, the power, the efficiency, the quirks, it really makes all the difference in making smart choices for your next computer.
Absolutely. And if we sort of zoom out, connect this to the bigger picture, it does raise an interesting question, doesn't it? In a world where we need more computing power, but we're also more aware of energy use and sustainability, how might rethinking our hardware choices maybe leaning towards these more compact, efficient solutions like mini PCs? How might that shape our future productivity and our impact on the environment?
That is a great thought to leave everyone with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the surprising world of mini PCs. We really hope this knowledge changes how you might think about your own setup. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive, learned something new, please do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe so you don't miss future insights, and definitely let us know down in the comments what other tech topics you'd like us to dive into next.